Namaskaram. So I'm very happy today to give you some very exciting new developments that are coming in Shri Jyoti Star 10 that will super boost your Dasha analysis, amongst other things. So we're going to discuss particularly how to use, or at least ways to more profoundly understand and penetrate into the conditional dashas. Everyone's using Vimshottari, but Parashar gave us his package of 10 uh, dashas with Vimshottari as the leader. So we've already done a video on Mukhya Vimshottari, how to do various variants of Vimshottari based on this little clue of Parashar where he said Mukhya, the leader. But another way of seeing it is that Vimshottari is the leader of the conditional dashas. So we'll talk about the conditional dashas. We'll talk about some very powerful tools to see how it's all working and supercharge your Jyotish. So what is special about these conditional dashas? Well, the Vimshottari dasha uses all 9 planets. Sun up to Ketu, they're all there. And it's a very highly developed system with these different Tarabala, like Janma, Sampat, Vipat, and so on. These are very powerful. There's so many applications of these, and there are 3 cycles of 9. So inside those cycles, each particular one has an interpretation. So that's all in the software, which gives us a powerful clue about how to handle it. And these 3 groups, the first 9 from the moon, usually from the moon, and then the next 9 and the next 9 are said to be Bhur Bhuva Swa, which means that the Bhu means the earth. So that's to do with our practical physical life, we could say, very personal life, as well as childhood and primarily childhood. Then there's Bhuva, which is to do with our, life in the world. It's more to do with our externality, our adult life, our children, our marriage, all these things. And then Swa is to do with the higher level of our experience, our spiritual experience, life after death, all of that. So these 3 are in different levels of abstraction. That's why the first 9 are thought to be having a bigger impact on us because they're closer to us. But it all depends where our consciousness is sitting, really. Which one is having they're all having an effect. It's just where your consciousness is sitting says about, how much impact, how much you're noticing the effect. So the planets are distributed, usually distributed in these 3 cycles. And according to that, we have different kinds of experiences. So the conditional dashas, the extra 9 after Vimshottari, they're different because they either have 8 or 7. 3 of them have 7 and the rest have 8 planets. So Vimshottari has 9, the others have 7 or 8. So they don't work in the same way as Vimshottari. They don't have this set of 9 and all those rules to do with the Tarabala and everything. All of those things don't apply, or if they apply completely in a different way because there's only 7 or 8 planets. So they need to be presented differently. This is going to be new in this version, next version that's being released now. So let me show you a few things using the software, Shri Jyoti Star 10. This is 10.145. I'm introducing most of this. So we're building on what was there before, but it's much more powerful. So here are a couple of large Rashi charts. The grid is switched on. You can turn it on and off with these buttons here. This is the fine grid. There are other ways of turning it on and off. That's the easy way. So I put this because I wanted to show you that's another new thing in this latest release. So you right click This is right click, and then you see this chart, and then this chart down the bottom, you can change the style. So let's change it to South Indian style. All right, so this is a couple of charts. Now, to study the nakshatras, we can put the table which shows all of them, all 27 or 28. So if we click here, and one of the fastest ways of finding it is just typing 27 or 28. And you'll see it says nakshatra and star strength, or Tarabala, all 27 or 28. Before it only handled 27, now it handles 27 or 28. So the default is Vimshottari, and it has all this extra information like a clue for every nakshatra based on the birth nakshatra. This starts with the moon here. You can change it to other planets by changing it here. And whatever you selected over here in this switch, you click here, you can change it, and it will appear here, whatever nakshatra is, the starting nakshatra, and then there's a count from there. So you have 3 classes of 9, and each one has a clue, and then here are the Tara names. Now this button here, we can switch it between the name of the nakshatra and the number counting from Ashwini, as you like. Now, what we can do, this is new, we click on the Tarabala, and it gives us a list of all the conditional dashas, or all the nakshatra dashas, in fact, because Vimshottari is one of the choices. So we say Ashtotri, we just click here, and now we have the setup in Vimshottari. So we've taken away the data that's just applicable to Vimshottari, and what we have left is the sequence. You can see these are the different nakshatras, and these are the lords, and these are the planets in them. So you'll see that Rohini, as a nakshatra in the Vimshottari system, is ruled by the moon, but that's only in Vimshottari. In the Ashtotari, it's ruled by Venus. So you see the lord is Venus, the planet in it is the moon. Now, if you're using Ashtotri Dasha, you shouldn't be using the Vimshottari lordships. This is the possible mistake. I mean, beginners might make that mistake. Or they don't go near Ashtotri because they don't really know about the lordships. But this table shows you very clearly the lordships, so it's very easy to interpret. So if you're on the moon dasha, you will get Venus results. And then also the moon's ruling certain nakshatras. So we see moon here is ruling Magha, Purva Falguni, and Uttara Falguni. And in those is Rahu and Mars. So during the moon dasha, Rahu and Mars are also getting activated. This is the chart of Barack Obama. I'm using this because there are many events in his life that I've entered, which is something that we'll be looking at in a minute. So this is the way of working. This is a very simplest but extremely powerful way of understanding how to work with this table. So let's look at some others. Now, the Disatisa Sama Dasha is very interesting because it has 2 variations. Now, this is in the Jaimini version. The Pro version just has the standard Disatisa, which is this one. So this is the 27 Nakshatra version. This is what you'll find in the translation of Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. And so you see this, the sequence of lords. For those who are interested in advanced studies, they can get the Jaimini version, and then you see this is how it works if you have a 28 Tara or Nakshatra system. So then it looks a bit like the Ashtotri. You see, you get groups of nakshatras ruled by a planet. This is how it works. So here you see, it starts from Mula. Mula is actually the key to this dasha. And the sun rules Mula, Purvashada, Uttarashada, and Abhijit. So when you have a 28 Tara system, then Abhijit comes into the picture. And this is new in this table that I've included Abhijit. So we see that Jupiter here is in Abhijit, and its lord is the sun. So as far as the Dvisaptati is concerned, then we have a very strong connection in Sun and Jupiter. Now, there are conditions. Like Disatisa is a very simple one because the Lord of the first is in the seventh, or the Lord of the seventh is in the first. This is basically it. So it generally would not be said to apply to his chart. Maybe we could extend the conditions a little bit, but sticking to Parashara's system. So if we click on this here, you see it gives you a list of the dashas. And if any of these were applicable to this chart, based on the rules, standard rules given by Parashara, you would see an asterisk. As it happens, in this particular chart, there are no conditional dashas that, of necessity apply. We'll later look at an example where we have such cases, but here we're just trying to understand how the thing is presented. So let's try looking at the events for his life. So we can put a table here. If you search on events, you'll see there are a lot of events tables. So this is a 1-by-1 table. It's very convenient to fit on the page. It comes up showing the 3 levels. There's a larger table which shows 5 levels. This smaller one shows 3 levels. And it shows here various events which we've entered. In Shri Jyoti Star, you can enter things under the events menu. You see add edit events, and they all appear here. And if you select one of these, it becomes a secondary chart. So if you're looking at anything on the screen which relates to the secondary chart, it will automatically switch to that event. For example, you can instantly see the transits at the time of that event. There's no work. It just instantly shows. So this is the events, and they scroll. You can use if you have a wheel mouse, or you can use your trackpad, or you can use this. This is for moving it up and down. And you can use this description thing here to make more space for the description by removing the date, just in case you want to see more completely what it says. Okay, these are the events. Now this can be switched also. So suppose you were into the Disatisa Dasha, you could click on here and you could just select it. So this has been made extremely easy. It was possible before, but it was a little bit more difficult to do. It needed a bit of explanation. And even I found that a little bit much. So this is now greatly simplified. You just click and select. So that's for these events. Now there's another wonderful thing, which is the Muhurta graph for the dashas. Now to find this, you can go looking under graphs. If we look under graphs, for example, we see these Muhurta graphs. And one of them is called Vimshottari Dashas and Events. So that was easy. And you can get to it by searching for Muhurta or any of these things in the name. And if we select that, then we see this is coming up as a month in his life, like this current month is July 2025. And there are some switches here, very interesting. This one is the length. You can, this being a graph, you can make it longer or shorter by dragging the bottom right-hand corner. So let's use up all our space. Now we can increase it to a year. And what you're seeing here are we're using right now the color scheme, which is based on the natural colors of the planets. It's just very easy to see. See, this is Saturn, it's a blue. This is Mars, it's red. It just makes it very easy to read. But there are a variety of different color schemes which you can choose, and they apply to almost everything. They may not apply to this because you lose a lot of the clarity of this if you make everything the same color. But anyway, when the dasha changes, you'll see the date and the name. So this is a Jupiter starting on 16th of April. So you can have 1 year, or you can have a decade, or you can even have 100 years. So you can pretty much see the whole of the life. And this line here, you see this line, this is now, or what is whatever the secondary chart is. Let's suppose we select from the event something like when he was the presidential election 2008. So you see this line has shifted over to here, and we see it's happening during Jupiter Dasha, Moon Antardasha in the Vimshottari Dasha system. Now let's suppose we want to look at it in the Disatisa. So we click on it and we get the same list. So we can just select the Disatisa. This is completely new. It didn't do this before. So now we see that the election took place in the Moon Mahadasha and right at the beginning of the Mercury. This will be similar to what we find here, you see, Moon, Mercury, Mercury. So just when the Mercury started, this thing got activated. So that's, you have to see which of the conditional dashas, if any, are working better than Vimshottari. So when you have a chart that has a conditional dasha which is applicable, then it often works very well. So let's try and see some other chart. All right, so this is the chart of the current president. Show one Democrat, we have to show Republican, right? So here we have a case where there are a couple of applicable dashas. Let's look. I'm just going to switch off the grid. Here we go. So if we click on this, we see that Vimshottari Dasha and Kshatrim Shatsama Dasha are applicable for this chart. So let's select Vimshottari, and we can do that for the events. I was doing a lot of research on him during the first term, and I put in various people as events in his life just as part of that. But here we have some of the things that related to his election in 2016 and then 2024. And then here we can select Vimshottari as well. So what we see here, let's move this to, you just drag the line to wherever you like, let's put it here somewhere. And then we'll zoom in. So here we go. So this is when he first became president. So we see it was Venus. He became president actually in Venus, Jupiter. But the election here, yeah, this is the presidential thing, Mahadasha Venus. See, it's here, Venus, Jupiter. And here you see the Venus, Jupiter for the president. See, this is the event, the president is, this line here indicates the exact date of the event. So that's the Vimshottari. And what we can see if we look at the Tarabala place, if we want to see, we should understand where Venus. See, Venus is here in the nakshatra of Jupiter. And Jupiter is here in the nakshatra of Mercury. So there is some connection. And if we look at the nakshatras of Venus, we see here's Swati is Venus, and Rohini is Venus, and Dhanishta is Venus. There are no planets in the nakshatra of Venus. So the main connection is Venus is connected with Saturn and with Jupiter. These are the main connections. And then as far as the Jupiter is concerned, what we see is, again, you see Jupiter is connected to Venus, Jupiter is connected to Mars and the ascendant. So Jupiter actually rules Magha. Magha nakshatra is, Mr. Trump's signature nakshatra, and it is the ruled by Jupiter, and that's in the Vimshottari system, and it was during that particular sub-period. Sub-periods are more important because the Mahadasha is really all about you personally, but the sub-period is about your world. So the Jupiter is the critical thing here, and we see that that is what is activating this tremendous Raja Yoga of Mars in the Lagna in Leo. So it's very powerful. And Jupiter's also activating Venus and Saturn, and Jupiter's also connected to the Moon and Ketu. So there are many powerful connections. Jupiter's activating no less than 5 planets, which is, remarkable, really, in terms of the impact. So anyway, this is just an example or a couple of examples, and it shows you how you can work with this and how clearly you can see everything. It's, I think it's, people are going to really enjoy this new feature, and so I'm grateful to everyone who's using the software, and I hope you really do well with it. I just like to say, if you find you've got a chart like this and some planets are bigger than other planets, you just right click, you can equalize the size, or you can go down to this chart and make them relatively similar to each other like that. All right. God bless.